all of the obstacles that he had to endure,
Yeah.
regardless of what they were, he still kept on pressing, and he ultimately got to the goal of what he wanted. And that's pretty much what anybody that I come in contact with that's in business or in life in general, that they're striving for something, any way I can help them along the way, give them some advice. If it's something I can't physically do for them, business wise or personally, I know, in the course of my travels, plenty of people, and I could just say, hey, go talk to this person.
So, welcome back to my channel. My name is Deborah Smith. I am the owner of DD Logistics LLC, a women-owned small business, government contracting business. And today we have Jeffrey, which I am extremely excited about. He's very inspirational, and he can step in and become an amazing team partner and a collaborator in your government contracting business. So we're super excited to have him. And I'm not going to tell you what he does because he's already super excited to share his story with you. So, Jeffrey, we are blessed to have you today. And we want to ask you, how are you doing?
I am doing fantastic, and I greatly appreciate you for having me on today. Love talking everything and anything that has anything to do with helping anybody one step forward. So looking forward to this.
Yes, me too. So I'm going to ask you, before we get into how to help people bid, right?
Mhm.
Tell us a little bit about your background in the freight space and the government contracting space.
Yeah. So my company is called Freight Runner Operators. It's derived from my last name, which is Renfro. So the Fro is what people call me. 2018ish, 2019, I started dispatching off of the fact that my current job, which is my 9 to 5 first business partner, I got wrongfully terminated for 8 days. I explained to them there was an issue with something that had to do with my route. Nobody addressed it. And when the issue came about, of course, I got blamed. So um, I took those 8 days on the chin. I went back to work. And then from there, I said, Lord, what can I do so that this doesn't happen to me again? I've only been fired twice in my adult life, and both of them were wrong for terminations. So I said, what can I do? I pick up the sales paper on Sundays. I looked in the paper, and lo and behold, dispatching popped up. So I paid the money right away, took the course. It was an 8 hour day that I spent with this company out of Texas. And then just transition from there to what more can I learn. And during COVID, when a lot of fear was being pumped on, this is going to happen, that's going to happen, I just had my headphones on and I was listening to different podcasts, and I got introduced to government contracting. And so I said, let me see how this translates between dispatching and doing government contracting. So it actually transitioned very well, and I'm loving the space that I'm in and the direction that I'm going for myself and the small circle that I have of other government contractors that we keep each other encouraged, and just looking forward to helping one another regardless of what that looks like.
I target people in logistics for a reason because they have a mindset of out of the box thinking strategy.
Yes.
That is a very strategic way to play the board. If you can thrive logistically, that goes for dispatching, freight, broker, shipper, any kind of supply chain activity. I know that I am talking and working with the right person, because if you can thrive there and strategically figure this thing out,
Mm-hmm.
that's what logistics is, right?
Yes.
Because of that experience. And coming from dispatching to government contracting is the perfect pivot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it works. It really does, because you're out of the box. You're already an out of the box thinker. And where
Mm-hmm.
you currently were in your position, it just works out for you. So thank you for sharing that. I think that that is powerful that you stepped into dispatching and then government
Hmm.
contracting, right?
Yeah,
Because logistically, things are a nightmare. And what we do is we're basically the cleanup team, right? And we
absolutely,
logistically route,
absolutely. Yeah.
so that's awesome. I love that. So when someone comes to you for help, like what's the exact process you take them through from the moment they find a bid to
Mhm.
actually submitting it?
Okay, so one of the things that I do, we actually don't look for bids per se, because 96% of all government contract opportunities go to companies that are actively marketing themselves. So what that looks like is if somebody comes to me and say, "Hey, I'm interested in getting into government contracting," we have a conversation about what their business is, and then from that conversation we go into what their niche is, and then once we figure out their niche, that's when we move forward with, okay, this is the lane, this is the direction that we're going to go in. See how it still ties into dispatching. We still go find your
Right.
lane, you find your niche. So that's basically where we at with it, where we just have a conversation, because when people think of government contracting, they think they have to bid on everything and see for something that sticks. And that's actually counterproductive to what you want to do, because just like, we're in the logistics space, so we know that a load board is like what they consider bottom of the barrel freight, or freight that is not that has been rejected by whoever the carriers are on that particular lane. That's how it gets pushed on the load board. So um, people think, I register my company, get on Sam's, and then I just start bidding because I see something that looks, enticing. When Sam's.gov is pretty much the same way, where a lot of the stuff that is on Sam's is stuff that people who are the procurement officer or the contract officer in the government space, they haven't found anybody in particular that they can say has done that job.
Yeah, for sure. And a lot of government contracts, that's good for you to mention, are more like specialized freight. They're very strategic. One time I was in place of bidding on 4 snowmobiles. I
Mm-hmm.
quickly found out within 7 to 10 business days that there was only 3 manufacturers that had those snowmobiles in stock. So
Mm-hmm.
they are looking for a very specialized company, and that's why the niches are in the riches. You
That's right.
cannot go for everything. You cannot be on every single portal. So that makes a lot of sense for
Yeah.
what is currently going on in this space. So that was a great answer, by the way.
Thank you.
Um, so you charge a fee to help people bid. So can you break down what the fee covers and what's included in that price that most people can't do on their own?
Yeah. So the way I attack a government contract for someone is there's no upfront costs at all. So what I'll do is, once we have that initial conversation about what their business is, what their niche is, then we go into the strategic planning, and anything that I put a bid on for that particular company, my fee is attached to. Once you win the contract, that's when I get paid. So that lets people know that I'm confident in what I'm doing in the government space, and I don't have to have any money up front in order to do that for you.
That is
So we
great.
have a tier based payment strategy, and it just depends on the value of the contract. That's when we get into how I would be paid, and it could be for 1 year, it could be a 3 year contract, it could be a 5 year contract. It just depends on what the contract actually is.
Yeah. So the sit down looks kind of like getting to know that bidder's company better. So you can put them in a place to kind of know what to bid on, where to place them. And then one thing I really like is the collaboration aspect, because when you're bidding by yourself, and this is my audience knows this, I can pull off maybe 3 to 5 bids per month because
Mm-hmm.
right now I don't have a team, but that's just for right now in 2025. So
Yeah.
for someone to come in and say, look, I'm going to help you bid and I'm not going to charge you anything
Mm-hmm.
until you win the contract.
Mm-hmm.
That is a powerful collaboration, and it is
Absolutely.
genius. Okay.
Absolutely.
So, y'all that are watching, he'll have details at the end, contact information, and just lock in because you think about it like it's double the team. You're not just bidding. Now you have Jeffrey and his amazing wife that he teams. They're a team, they're a unit, and they can come in and strategically place you for a win without any upfront fees. So to me, I'm like, okay, we got to start locking in with these kinds of collaborations. So that's powerful.
Thank you.
I'm excited about this question. Top three mistakes that you see small businesses making when they try to bid on government contracts by themselves.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah,
That,
yeah,
that that's a that's a
yeah,
that's a great question because a lot of times, like, okay, so I'll give you three examples.
Okay.
There's a little bit more, but I'll give you the top three.
Okay.
So one of the top three would be when they bid on a contract, finding somebody that's not strategically able to perform that contract. Because some small businesses that may not be able to take on that capacity, so they may outsource the work. But when they're trying to outsource the work, they're not vetting these companies for one to see if they can pass a federal background check. You don't know if they can be on a net 30 terms. So they just go after the contract, they win the contract, and then once they win it, then they go try to find a company that can do the work. And once they find a company that can do the work, then they say, well, I want my money up front. But the person that won the contract knows it's a net 30. And they say, oh man, what do I do now? Or if they get a company that can't perform the work because they can't get on, let's just say, a military base because they can't pass a federal background check. Now you're scrambling, trying to figure out what can I do to salvage this contract, and you're just taking any and everybody, and you're still not vetting me. So that's one thing. Two is not understanding the scope of work. When you look at the scope of work, if you break down the contract, if you don't know the technical aspect and the compliance aspect, you're gonna lose that battle every single time. Because if you submit a bid, that contractor is expecting you to be the expert on that subject matter. And then if you come back to that contractor officer saying, oh, I made a mistake after they awarded you the contract, that's a bad look. And they're saying, okay, because the contractor officer is not going to take it back from you and say, okay, let me go find somebody else. That's not how that works. They're like, you won this contract. You told me that you were the person who can pull this off. You have to figure it out.
You can't. There's no giving them back.
There's no giving it back. There's no giving it back.
If you try to give it back, you can kiss it goodbye.
Yes. And the third thing is pricing. A lot of people a lot of times people are being taught in the government contracting space. You look for what the contract was awarded with the previous person, and then you match your pricing to that person's pricing. When there's a term by a famous rapper that says yesterday's price is not today's price, or some aspect of however that goes. But so when it comes to pricing, you have to understand that old pricing models don't necessarily work, and this can be from product contracts or service contracts. For myself and my business, I with service contracts. I haven't gotten into the product side, but that doesn't mean I still don't understand when I'm procuring a contract for a product that I still have to understand the pricing. I still have to understand the technical. I still have to understand the compliance aspect of that contract, because I'm being at as a subject matter because I submitted my stuff on SAMS. I got the cage pulled. I'm reaching out to these procurement officers, so they're saying, okay, you're the competent one. You can't come back to them and say, oh, I messed up. You can't submit a bid and then you win the award because you put a price on what somebody put on the last contract, and it's like $10,000 more than what you bid it on. And then you go back to the contractor and says, hey, I'm $10,000 short. I need you to give me some more money. That doesn't work either.
No.
That doesn't work either.
No. It's not
And
going
then
down
what
like
if, yeah,
that.
what if you can't go to a financial institution and get that $10,000? So now you're scrambling trying to figure out. So that's what we go back to: understanding the compliance, understanding the scope of work, understanding the technical aspect of it, because price is always going to be your last part of your contract, because you have to understand all of those other things first.
That's what people are most excited about when they hear about government contracting. Oh, someone made 50,000 in profit. But do you know how they got to that number?
Yeah.
When very early in my career, maybe like 9 months in, I had about 6 to 8 bids, and almost all 8 of them, when I was getting debriefs, were because of pricing.
Yeah.
I was not paying attention to my own numbers. I was throwing margins that really did not exist. So I got sharper over time with debriefs, but I struggled with pricing. Then the next 6 months looked very different because debriefs came in. I was able to hone in and do research and just understand my company better from a pricing standpoint. But if you think you're going to come out here and add a 50% margin on a government contract, you're going to be upset. So you have to have someone who's educated in pricing. And the 3 points that you mentioned, that third one, very important, because you hit the golden egg. But when it's time for the invoices to be processed and you realize you made a mistake, it's not my fault. It's not Jeffrey's fault. You know what I mean? Like, you have to have someone who is educated. And there's also a term too. You should go with someone who has already navigated the minefield. When you're going through a minefield, you want to go behind someone who already navigated that field. You don't want to go alone. You don't know the steps to take. That is where Jeffrey comes into play, as well as my pricing course that was launched. Those are impactful, helpful things for you to say, look, I just went from 0 to 600 grand in 6 months. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that is extremely important. All 3 of those were good points as well, because they matter.
Oh yeah, they definitely matter. They definitely matter. One of the other things I want to add to that is understanding what the FAR is, because FAR are the rules and regulations that the government sets so that you understand what their requirements are. So I know that was a little attachment onto the top 3 things that businesses typically don't, mistakes that they make. So I just want to throw that out in there too.
Yep, that's the rule book. FAR, FAR. I mean, it also sounds too like in this interview, I keep feeling like buy your time back, right? Because if you can bid twice as quick and have someone who's educated on the other end that's bidding for you, I mean, that's really impactful. And I don't really touch on FAR, so thank you for bringing that up, because SAM.gov does play by a rule book. And it is the FAR rule book, and that's just as important, especially when it's federal bids. So that's something good to bring up. All right, for anyone who's watching who wants to work with you, that's what I meant to say. What's the best way for them to get started, and what should they have before they reach out to you?
Absolutely. So my company is, like I said, Freight Runner Operators with the S on the end. My email contact information is info@fro-dispatching.com. Some of the things that it would be helpful, that's not necessarily have to, but it would be helpful if they've already registered with SAMS. I know a lot of times people, they like somebody to kind of do it for them. They're not interested in doing that process. That would be, if they still wanted me to do that process for them, that would be a separate fee, of course, but it's free. It's free. So instead of having me do it for you, you can go on SAMS and register your company, first. It's completely free. Because once you have your cage code, you're active to be able to go and bid. So it's a must to have your cage code to be active in order to procure contracts, especially on the federal level. That's primarily where I operate, is on the federal level.
Okay, so you want them to have an active LLC? Company must be active?
Yes.
You want people to be registered in SAM.gov?
Yes.
If they are not registered in SAM.gov, you will help them to get registered for an additional fee.
Yes.
Okay. And would you like them to have a niche, or can you
Uh,
grade that together?
if they don't have a niche, we'll have that through the onboarding process as far as once I learn about them and their business.
Okay. So what is your standard fee? Is it based on the value of the contract?
Yeah, it's just strictly based on the value of the contract. With this chart here that you show that you have, it basically talks about what I went back to earlier, how government contracts are awarded to those that are actively marketing themselves, because 96% of the contracts go to those that are actively marketing themselves. So in this chart, you have sole source, task orders, and then you see that little small piece of the pie that says SAMs. So that just shows you that most of the contract opportunities out there don't come from SAMs. You know, you have micro purchases, based on different counties. They have their micro purchases are typically maybe 10,000, 25,000. You know, they put those on a P card, which is a purchase card. And then Dibs is a government site for like military freight, different things like that. So it just shows, you know, the different ways of opportunities that of contracts that are out there.
I like the whole micro purchase thing. I am the micro purchase queen. It did not start that way,
Mm-hmm.
and it also won't end that way. Well, it did start that way because my first contract that I won was a micro purchase with Erie County and Buffalo, New
Okay.
York, and then a state contract, and now manifesting the SAM.gov, right? So I don't talk about SAM.gov a lot. So that's why you got the floor today because a lot of my videos are going to change gears because
Mm-hmm.
right now that's currently the platform that I'm in because it went from in my masterclass I teach local, state, SAM because
Gotcha.
people go to SAM first because when you think about it, like you hear government contracting, people only know SAM.
Yeah.
You're riding past all of these opportunities. I mean, every day, the parks, the waste management, the traffic lights, this is all money you're just
Mm-hmm.
riding past. So I wanted you to touch on that graph because I saw that micro purchases was on there. And yeah, so first one was a micro purchase, second one was really big, and then the third one, which I'm currently manifesting, will be over a
Mm-hmm.
million. So
There you go. There you
that's
go.
good
Yeah,
for you
yeah,
to mention that.
yeah.
I'm extremely grateful that I got the opportunity to do this. You are a LinkedIn connection, but I love what you post, and I also love what you stand for. Even the photo in the background, that's
Yeah.
very
Oh yeah.
impactful. If you could show that really quick.
Absolutely.
Nice, nice. I think that that's impactful to show because in life you're going to take many hits. Matter of fact, in government contracting, you're going to take many hits. Sometimes you will win, other times you will lose, but they are all lessons. It is about how quick you can bounce back when you get knocked down. The quicker you get back up, the better. All right. Y'all know I love y'all. Today was a real treat with Jeffrey. And whatever you are thinking that is good, make sure you start to think bigger. Bye for now.